Good morning and welcome to Mo Knows featuring me, Monica Mo Justice. Okay, shout out to Happy Wednesday, Hump Day, middle of the week. Here we are. Shout out to us. We've gotten there, getting the swing of things. We only have 1 hour. We only have 1 hour. I think I can accomplish this in 1 hour because it doesn't, it's not no rocket science here. I give you my intro in a minute, in a minute. Okay, I just had to do that. All right, I'm messing around with the chat this morning. Uh, Unless y'all say otherwise. Okay, I'm not expecting it to be crowded in here today, so I'm hoping, I could get my thoughts in, out, and done with. Okay. Mo's commentary. Mo, that's me. It's satire. I hope y'all know what satire is because it coincides when you're in a what do you call this? A virtual fictitious community. So today's conversation is surrounding that same virtual fictitious community. Rise up from the cemetery. Um, mm, I might have to think of something about that. But it's just interesting things occur all the time. Let's just put it on what it needs to be put on. Sometimes I like my little do raggy thing, but I know it bothers people in Southern California. I'm not even in that good key mode with that. Anyway, anywho, saw some interesting developments while I was sleeping when I woke up. Shout out to used peoples. I need to find my book with the list. Y'all really had shout out to KK. Y'all really had her going. Y'all really had her going last night. Beautiful discussion though. Beautiful discussion. Don't like the way it developed from my personal viewpoint, my personal vantage point. Um, but anytime people who do not get along have an opportunity to provide you with the hashtag background on that, it's an interesting takeaway. What I will say towards it though is it's interesting to me because I've been on the cuff if I should do. Um, Karen came up here the other day and she was like, "You wanted to know some things. I'm here to tell you about it." When, especially when dealing with folks in general, there's always going to be a few sides to a story. And notice I said a few sides to a story because as the world develops now, um, I have to go to positions that there are a few sides to every story. So there's going to be party A's side of the story, party B's side of the story, and then it's going to be your interpretation and where you lie in the middle. If your hand calls for that. And in some of these situations that we see develop inside of this community, many of our hands don't call for the opinion. Please hold a moment. Okay. It's interesting. I'm looking for my book of notes. I'm gonna have to go through this one. I'm gonna have to find a way to I'm gonna have to tag these now because like this is over. I'm looking for my cheat sheet. But like I said, there are always going to be when you're involved in relationships, there is going to be this period of time when you meet, you cultivate that relationship, it grows into something, and you put, I'm going to use your words out here, you put your energy into it. And then you hope that as you're cultivating it, it's growing into something meaningful. And what I heard yesterday, and as it had, or I heard a couple of hours ago, it is true in all relationships. There comes a point in time where people reveal their position. And sometimes you have people string you along for a long period of time. And then you have some people that just be straight up with you and tell you that there's no relationship there. But what I find to be interesting on here is a thing called the YouTube ships. And I'm going to give you my definition. I'm going to go straight to my playlist because I think I defined YouTube ships there. And I thought it was imperative that I do so because I acquired the terminology from Beach. Now, what I'm saying is I'm not the origin or the originator of the term YouTube shits. I got it from Beach. But I did give it a definition so that I could use it openly here. Can I even see that here? I was hoping I'd see it here. Let me see what it says when I go to edit. Yes, YouTube ships as defined by Mo. See? As defined by Mo. Are relationships that start on the YouTube, often as collaborations that transition into a STD. And I define STD as a socially transmitted distraction, resulting in a nasty breakup. A war of videos ensues back and forth between the platforms. That's what a YouTube ship is to me. I think I stuck this video in that playlist because that's what generally happens around here. And it all takes place based on the relationship you start to establish with the person. So Trollgate and all those different topics that have come up recently all fall into that category of YouTube ships gone bad, basically, or gone good, depending on how you see it. So let me just bring your attention to the thumbnail, today's thumbnail, du jour. What did I say on the thumbnail? There are two ways to lose energy, right? The first one is pulling someone up. No, actually is pushing someone down. And the second way to lose energy is pulling someone up. Both ways, in my opinion, you're taking away from yourself. You're losing energy. You've dedicated some time to something or someone. And in this case, we're talking about someone's because we're talking about YouTube ships. So you've dedicated time either pushing them down or pulling them up. And I look at it and I just be like, what is really wrong with folks around here? What is going on? I remember Miss Deb when I first came onto this environment, calling this section the Section 8 division of YouTube. And I found it funny and I ran with it for a long time because it also is it is the ground zero of the community at large. It has to do with your financial wealth, your emotional health, or the emotional pollution that's around here. And then last but not least, how you deal with all of that, how you process all of that and come out on the other side of the information. So I'm always hearing people upset and feeling bad that people refer to the audience here as a cemetery. Is dead, dormant stuff going on because they see it in most instances as being vibrant and live. At the end of the day, it's like a family, in the words of Karen, because it is very toxic. It's extremely toxic around here because the relationships can't be mended. And then when you see the level of poverty, people don't like me to, and I'm not picking on any one person's financial place. I'm looking at the poverty, the weakness here, the things, the challenges that people are struggling with, the addictions that people are facing, the lack of financial opportunities that people are in, that you will find them always comparing themselves in terms of rich life, this life or that life, or trying to find somebody that they feel may be on a different level than them to compare themselves to see if they are better. Always trying to measure up to someone else, right? That's all wasted energy that people around here spend so openly. You understand? There's been talk or mention of folks staying up in the nighttime wanting to corroborate with each other, right? The main reason why people corroborate in the nighttime is because many of us be making feet in the nighttime and many people can't. This is the time where there's a void in their life, so they're looking for love. And I want to say this honestly, looking for love in all the wrong spaces. And that's all it comes from. I heard a man yesterday describe the appearance of a woman as, oh, you want our love. I know you want our love. And it's that if you find this to be love, I guess it defines you. It makes for a complete picture. I find it, but on the other end of it, you hear folks always saying, oh, this is, we're here and it's only entertainment. So we're using the wee hours of the night as entertainment. For the most part, if you're not at work listening to this in the middle of the night, or you're not somewhere on the West Coast when some of this stuff is airing in the middle of the night, you really need to evaluate yourself and say, what am I missing in the middle of the night that I desire to give it up for this? Some of you, it may be sleep. You might be sleep deprived. You might need to go see a sleep doctor or something. But at the end of the day, there is something that's not there that is making for the interconnection. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be jiving with folks at that time in the morning, but I believe that you should be looking at yourself and saying, what is this? Why am I drawn to this? What is this about? How does this work? What is working for me? And for those of you who missed out on it, like moi, you also have to say to yourself, did you feel a certain kind of way because you wasn't there? Did you get a rise because you needed to see it all? Because I needed to see it all this morning. I was like backwards and forwards and in and out. Did you get that thing like, ah, man, this is something I needed to be, I needed to be there in real time? Or was you there in real time and just was hanging out inside? We hang out in lounges over here, right? So were you in the C-suite just saying to yourself, like, damn, do I do that? Am I like that? What am I willing to do to be included? Mm, mm, mm. $5.72 can change your whole appearance in a minute of moments. Very interesting. Maybe this is not the book. I don't know why I felt like this was my book from last year. I think it is. Well, I know it's the one from last, because I saw something about the unofficial therapist in this book. So I was writing something. Who arrived in a white car? What trial was that? Kim Porter. Did I listen? Kim Porter's trial was earlier this year, so this might be this year's book. But I keep all my books close. This book right here, because I need to find Karen's list to send to her. Because I was surprised she had amnesia. And that's it. But, she might got categories of those, what are y'all calling them, nicknames? On here, we allow other people to define our main ideas, when you shouldn't let anybody else own or define your stuff. You should own your stuff from the gate. There is no right or wrong answers. This is a discussion for the purpose of expressing our point of views on an incident that moved communities to hit this. Interesting. I have a whole page here with disclaimers, because originally I was a disclaimer girl. I do that from time to time. I write them down here. This might be the book. But I'm going to have to really... I got table of contents here. Which is sad. It is really sad. Oh, Karen King is on page 86 and 96. Let me see what's on my 86 and 96. That is really... I actually have a table of contents for my book. Oh. Oh, you know what this is? Karen came on my platform one day and she asked me some question that had to do with growth, change, and money. Eek. Kind of weary right here, depending on what I said. What was the other page? I said 86 and 96 for Karen. All right, I'll go back. She only topped. It was I kind of remember this conversation when she came up here and asked me a question during one of the shows. So I'll go back. That was September 12th show. I'll go back and look at that. 86 and 96. I'm multitasking this morning. Oh, that's not going to be it. Can we do... Okay, so that's just it. 86 and 96. Oh. This is some video of hers I saw. All right, anyway, I'll find my list. I feel like I had it written somewhere else. Like, I feel like I had it written in, like, the calendar book or something. But I will come up with the list. Oh, wait a minute. I feel like it was in this kind of paper though. Every book has a different type of paper. Anyway, let me not hold y'all up with that. Um, mm, busy this morning, so no worries. I'm picking up. Okay. All right. So hold up a second. All right. I'll look for it. It's in one. I think it's in. I think it's in a book. Like I think I know which book it is when I saw this paper. But I'll find it. Okay. My reaction is simple. It's very simple. You have to ask yourself, what are you getting out of these things, these relationships that are here? You have to ask yourself, what do you need? I mean, well, I heard something and I belong on this side of the track because that's where I've been. And you guys know that. Um and I do, with my the mama was a gangster with my gangster tendencies. I do believe that internal fights need to be kept internal. They don't have to be so public. But it's obvious at this point who all the players are and what is missing. All right. And part of the problem here is that people believe they can control situations by their pocketbooks. And this is exactly why I spent this much time not embracing monetization around here, because I did not want people that don't have power over me to believe that their money now empowers me. And it's little drops in the bucket. Like, this is the reason why I was sustainable this amount of time without needing to participate here. But looking at the structure, and I want y'all to be clear because I don't really want y'all to par with me. I'm just being very honest with all of you. I don't want you to participate with me on this journey. I want y'all to go your own separate ways. I mean, I'm being as transparent as parent could be. I want y'all to go your own way because the energy around here is so toxic. It is not conducive for people to grow in. There are many well-intentioned folks amongst y'all, but listen to what you say to me. I'll give you a point in case. Had a conversation with a gentleman. He says to me, "Ooh, I am all over the place. I go everywhere. I don't have no issues with anybody. I go everywhere." If you think that going on all sides of the camp is a fair place to be, guess who else says that? Nicola. And I said, Nicola's messy, right? I've accepted that because I've incorporated her into a relationship that is, never gonna change, or it's gonna stay the way it was. Like, I've agreed to accept her on the grounds that she is, that she's made. Like, I don't try to change nobody from how they are. And when I define it as messy, people go ahead and just be like, Mo is disrespecting her in some kind of way. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. I'm just saying she's messy. There are some people that have been self-diagnosed messy people, and they come up here and they tell you, they say, I'm with the shiz. From the gate, they come out here and they tell you that. And you can only respect those people because at least they have identified their where they stand. Over in here, you have folks that will want to embrace you as a friend. Can you imagine what it would be like for me if I had friends from the internet? And I want to shout out, I did have the book club going at the time my dad passed away. And in that book club grouping, I had to ask, like, because I've never been on home hospice. I've never been a home health aide. I've never had to take care of somebody in my home to their last day. Okay? I signed on to that for Cheek, but he ended up passing in the hospital before the final arrangements of that could come to place. I told you guys that the day he died, that morning, the hospital bed arrived and we had to reject it. Because we were bringing him home for hospice. But the moniker of that period of time would not have been prepared for him to pass in the home. The moniker, by the time I got to taking care of my parents, she was prepared for anything. Regrettably for me and my siblings, it was a harder loss to us to lose my mom. That's just the way girls are built, right? In terms of, she was younger, significantly younger than my father, and we could have benefited from her being here today. My dad was 94 years old. So for anybody to be up here on this internet making videos that somebody killed a 94-year-old man is sad and pathetic, but it is what lives in the cemetery. The cemeterian thought process of many of you people here, you prove me right every time we say this is a cemetery, that you kill off people, you kill off things. This is how you do it. This is your basic tendencies. It's not going to change. Now, I told y'all before I even got into the night before last that I heard these rumors had surfaced a couple of months ago. And I was like, it's just sad and pathetic, but I'll let it ride itself out. If you believe I killed somebody, then go right ahead and keep making those narratives. I don't got nothing else to say to you. Anybody that's been around me from day one knows how I felt about my father. But the reality of things are, his time had come and he was within his own space. It is very difficult for people to be in a relationship for as many years as my parents were in, and not be sad when your significant other passes away. So I can always feel the pleasure that I was here, that I was present. I know in my family dynamics who did what and how they did it. There was no need to bring that here to the internet, because during that time, you good folks had already come in my room, had me kill my mother earlier in the year when y'all told y'all stories, disrespected me with trolls coming up in here. For those of you who were not in attendance at the funeral, were making big suggestions because we had a virtual funeral for my mom. She passed away from COVID, and I did not want her co-workers attending the funeral. But I felt it was near and dear for those people that were the influencers at that time who wanted to partake in my pain to do so, and I did, and I have no regrets for it, and I appreciate those who have maintained my privacy in that. You understand? I thought it was beautiful. Um but it was not a public display for the public that was here at large. It wasn't for the public of Monica Mo Justice. It was for the people that were more to the core of me to be part of that. So I would really consider that. If you had a board of directors at that time, I would have considered it more like I had the board of directors around me. The most closest people at that time were present. And that was it. And to this date, I think they've respected my privacy as in respect to my mother being laid to rest. Moreover, when my dad passed, as I said, the book club was active at the time, and those who were participants in the book club also know the status of my dad. And I respect the fact that they kept my privacy in that. It took y'all months to figure out he was deceased. So for all we know, and listening to your narratives, he could still be laying in some room back here. You understand? If it wasn't because I was talking about picking plots for myself in the same place, y'all would have never known that, because I had taken my family life private. Good morning. Let me do this way. So to hear people come up with these narratives that they coming up with, all it tells me is, Mo, you must be doing a good job, because when I go high, they go low all the time. So I take these low shots and I say to myself, these people, they digging. Hey, Beach, we can't do emojis over here. Let me show y'all why the eat it is on emojis just one more time. See how that comes across? So that's why we don't do emojis over here. But it's good to see you inside the room. So I have no deference. I'm not upset with the content you guys create over there, because it is just you losing energy. It's another example of you losing energy because you're trying to push somebody down, while I'm over here pulling myself up every single day. No regrets. Many of us will never be on this earth for 94 years. The plethora of information that came from my dad, having been the age he was, and having been here during the time period he was in. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. And for the type of man that he was, humble in nature, what more can I say? I know when I'm going through my moments of dad, I'm just remembering how lucky I was to be a child with a mother and a father inside of the home every day of my life. When I listen to the destructive folks that are around here, many of them lacked a mother and a father inside their house. What a beautiful thing that I was a beautiful young lady and I didn't have a fresh father either. I had a father that was loving and doting to his daughters. I had a father who was stern and firm with his expectations of us as I was a young lady. So you're not going to get a whole bunch of hoe cake stories from me from when I was little doing hoe cake things. You will get a bunch of stories in my lifetime about me probably putting hands on something, being always down with the fellas in terms of that's just who I am, an around the way girl. Just always that down ass girl that you would want to have on your side, your ride or die. In my memoirs, kind of like, what's that lady's name? What's the book we read in the book club? Cecily Tyson. I'll put together a book that could be released when I'm no longer here, and it'll tell you where the bodies are buried at. But I can assure you, I was a down ass chick when it came down to being in this in the world. And then there came a time when I just settled back. So when I hear people considering me to be a side chick, I have to be like, what are they really thinking? What hurt is really going through their veins that they have to spend this time worrying about where my PUSSY lays? I just cannot believe it sometimes. I just be like, did they really do the JJ gate on me to try to figure out what I got going on with mine? Can you worry about yours? Can you make sure yours don't have what do you call us, testicles or whatever? Because some of y'all got prostates and all kinds of stuff from the female perspective on things, right? Can you check your body parts and tell us where they've been? You know, when you hear people telling stories, they're like, yo, you ain't never had no millionaire, billionaire, millionaire man. I don't know what anybody has had here. I know what people have purported to be their life. I've heard people talk about they lived in a place where they may have had servants, maids, because of their financial situation at the time based on their husband's success, right? They may have had maids and stuff. I listen to people today that do have housekeepers come in on demand to clean and help around and do things. I've heard that in real time here with some people's lifestyles. But at the end of the day, where are you now and what are you now? Because there's no way you could be these women of excellence yesterday to be sitting here today carrying on like this in the social space. And this is not new. This is from 2018 when I saw a man being chased down into a tunnel on here that I thought was a very educated man being attacked by a very villainous woman. And I kept saying to myself, well, what could drive a man this intelligent to flee from somebody that dangerous? But this is the millionaire pussy. I'm just kind of like, like I got this six figure dude all the other time. Can you tell me about the 7-figure range? When y'all was in the 7-figure range, what was you doing? How was you living? What was that like? You understand? I can't imagine just popping out babies to try to keep a man. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to say that. Because, that's how they keep them in that rich life world that they live in. They just pop out babies. I don't even know how to react to this. I'm sorry. Good morning. I'm not used to new faces in my place. So let's take a moment out to evaluate the situation, sir. Mo, where is your channel? Where's your live stream, Mo? Oh, here's your live stream. This is pretty crazy. I meant to tell somebody this. On your computer in a live environment, you don't get to see all the things. Where's your live stream? Okay. Let me see. Do you cook? So, good morning. Cooking with CER Senior. So I'm going to pronounce that Sir Senior. Is that how you pronounce that, sir? What brings you to my neck of the woods? How'd you find me, sir? Am I coming up in the algorithm this morning? You know what to do, folks. Hit the like so we can take a hike up in here on the algorithm. Let's do this. Like Brutus. Okay, I agree. People will tell you they broke and have money, and especially the other way around. People will tell you they have money, but they're broke. The bottom line is, for me, if you got to tell anybody about your financial situation, it says a lot about insecurity there. People that are wealthy try not to tell it because they don't want it to be their demise. And people that I know that are comfortable in their finances, they don't tell it because they're too busy living it through. I consider myself to be middle class, have been middle class for a long. I've been middle class since I've acquired my paralegal certificate, just to be quite honest. And then my associate's degree. So I consider myself to have been middle class from the moment I got my degrees. And need I say more? I've seen my value at work double just in terms of what you can earn, your baseline earning capabilities. I've seen a lot of things happen that certain education opened the door for. Life experience had me deal with children first and families and my street life, right? Where I come from in the south side of Jamaica, Queens, and my level of who I was as a woman. Now, y'all could take that how y'all want to take it, but I know who I am, and I know where I've been, and I know what I've done. So it's curiosity to me when the women in my real life that would be around, the intermediate women around me, they don't take the time to try to figure out who Mo is, where Mo goes, how Mo does something. They don't do that. Only here on the internet. And when I've come in contact with these women on the internet, have they taken the time they've taken the time to want to compare their lifestyle to me? And I'm just always curious, when I see certain things happen. You're gonna kill me right now. But I'm just in here looking at certain things. Interesting scope of life. Just an interesting take on life. Hey, Sam Francis, what's cooking? Well, we got cooking channels up in here. I see that your channel, as I take a segue out, you have some spiritual content engrossed in your channel, embedded in your channel. Sir Senior. Any particular reason why you got a cooking name but a different theme on your channel? Just asking, not being funny. Interesting though, very interesting. Very interesting. Let me do. I guess y'all right. I guess I've been hanging around Karen for way too long now. It's making me look at things from a different perspective on some things. So it's actually Sir Singer. Hmm. interesting. Very interesting. A lot of times we go into relationships set up for disaster. Hmm. All right, interesting thing. Well, thank you for dropping in and sharing your wisdom this morning. I hope you continue to participate in the discussion. Um, Annie, redirecting it to personal reflections of stuff. Um, no, Karen, let me just pin that comment. Hold up a second. I think that I've been in this environment for as long as I could stomach it. And I get angry when folks believe that the methodology is for me to stop being here in order to move forward, when it's really I need to get a different audience. If you go back and you listen to that video from it said I was reading the transcript of one of your videos. I always go to transcripts now. I don't even I try to take out the sound of people's things because I prefer to read. So I go through the transcripts like nobody's business. And some of y'all videos around here don't have transcripts, pissing me off. But I know why you don't have transcripts. And that's the reason for y'all little success around here in the YouTube algorithm and stuff. And that might be a reason why some people is making money on here, as they be like they're doing their hate arguments with other channels, which would not get you a good viewing. But if you turn off your closed caption, there's nothing for them to transcribe. And if they can't transcribe your material, it really hits the algorithm differently. See, I could sit up here, I risk manage. That's what I do in my day-to-day. I risk manage. I look at situations and I manage the risk. I came here when I was in that girls group. That's what I did. That was my claim to that fame in that group. I took their plan that they were about to fully execute, and I weighed the risk against it. And I gave them all the possible outcomes from how I saw it. Not from what they did, what they was about to do. And that's a skill set. That's why that women group that I did belong to back then, the one that took out Brother Malcolm. So now y'all all know who Brother Malcolm is. The group that took out Brother Malcolm, my role there was critical in that I was just the risk analysis. I did risk analysis for everything. And you could tell when I wasn't there how critical it was, because if I had given the risk analysis, there would not been no audio that went from hand to hand. Sometimes in life, things are just what they are. Karen wrote something. I said hi to Sam Francis, but if I didn't, good morning. Um, this comment. Being cautious is never being like me. It's being careful. Know your audience. KYA is know your audience over here. We got language. We're building a brand over here, and we're building a brand around where you have me, where my audience has me right now. When the audience change, it'll be different. So if you listen to somebody that you guys obviously believe brings you wisdom on platforms, because the reason why people are linking right now with Psycho in the big scheme of things, right? They're linking with her only to grow. Unfortunately, because if you listen to somebody always compliment her, it's like she speaks the wisdom that women around here are afraid to say. She says the stuff that people are afraid to say. Flattery. Go back to the story about the spider and the fly. Very important story that I told y'all here. It's a maybe I'll link it. The spider to the fly. It's when the spider is building the nest, building a web. The spider's building a web outside of its den. And the fly is flying around outside. Na boo boo. That's what the fly is doing. And the spider's just like, come on. And talking all nice and seductive and this and that. And the fly is smart the first go round. Extremely intelligent. This is what the fly is saying the whole time. The fly is like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry about me. I'm good. I know who you are. I see you coming. I see you coming. Everybody that goes into whoever goes and gets caught in your trap never comes back. So the fly knows this as it's playing with the spider. But the spider continues to build the nest, the web. Just continues building the web. And then all of a sudden, the fly gets bored and leaves. Then the spider sings a loving song. I'm gonna go get y'all the reading in a second, because I think y'all gotta hear it again. But let me just close out like this on the topic at hand and the 572. And I seen people do things for $100 up here. There's something that Psycho needs $500 for, guys. I don't know how many times I'm gonna tell you this week. She tried to clean it up. $500 is my lucky number. She didn't even have $500 to send me to give. She didn't even have $500 that she was willing to put on hold to get the intel from Karen, which I found to be extremely telling. And I was just like, so for 572, she can make sure that her man loses again a bet on her, because all she had to do was hang in there. Loses a bet on her. So now this is $105.72. But if you hear him tell it, it might be $205.72 that we physically know he's already out of cheerleading on that way. But is it cheerleading, or is he acting like the fly to the spider? And I'm about to read y'all that, so y'all get the context behind it better. But at the end of the day, there's something that somebody needs right now that's worth $500. But hopefully in the next 24 hours, all of those channels that she says is not, what did she say? They don't have the same subscribers. The channels that are over wherever are doing well because they don't have the same subscribers. So are we speaking a different language here, or are we speaking the same language? Or was she speaking to people that have channels other places that have a different audience? They cater to a different audience. So what? Why was y'all so fast to go over somewhere? I don't know. Y'all do y'all. But let me find the spider and the fly, because I think y'all need a fresher course. I think the said the spider to the fly. And then I'm going to get up out of here. So this is a poem. It's poetry, okay, at its best. And the piece is The Spider and the Fly. And it's by Mary Howitt. And it's one of my favorite stories. And I love to read it. You can leave. I need to make this bigger. Here we go. And you know how we do story time around here. Do 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 do. Will you walk into my parlor? Said the spider to the fly. 'Tis the prettiest little parlor that ever you despy. The way into my parlor is up a winding stair, and I have many curious things to shew when you are there. Oh, no, 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 said the little fly. To ask me is in vain, for who goes up your winding stair can never come down again. I'm sure you must be weary, dear, and soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my bed? Said the spider to the fly. There are pretty curtains drawn around. The sheets are fine and thin, and if you like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in. No, 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 said the little fly. For I've often heard it said, they never, never wake again who sleep upon your bed. Said the cunning spider to the fly. Cunning is the word there, guys. Dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affection I've always felt for you? I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. Will you please to take a slice? Oh, no, 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 said the little fly. Kind sir, that cannot be. I've heard what's in your pantry, and I do not wish to see. Sweet creature, said the spider, you're witty and you're wise. How handsome are your gazy wings. How brilliant are your eyes. I've heard a little looking glass upon my parlor shelf. If you'll step in one moment, dear, you shall behold yourself. I thank you, gentle sir, she said, for what you're pleased to say, and binding you, and bidding you good morning now. I'll call another day. Okay. So the spider turned him around about and went into his den, for well he knew the silly fly would soon come back again. So he wove a subtle web in a little corner sly and set his table ready to dine upon the fly. Then he came out to his door again and merely did sing, come hither, hither, pretty fly with the pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple. There's a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like the diamond bright, but mine are dull as lead. Alas, alas, how very soon this silly little fly, hearing his willy flattering words, came slowly fleeting by. With buzzing wings she hung aloft, then near and nearer drew, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and green and purple hue, thinking only of her crested head, poor foolish thing. At last, up jumped the cunning spider and fiercely held her fast. He dragged her up his winding stair into his dismal den within his little parlor, but she never come out again. That's what's going on around here. Just a bunch of traps. Just a bunch of traps. There's a lot of spiders up here in this little cluster. And there's a bunch of flies just flying around. You know, flies sit on shit. But y'all know how that goes. But at the end of the day, the spider wins. Don't let somebody set a web for you. Stop these spiders in their tracks. It doesn't really care who, at least I don't think. Based on the information we've received so far, it doesn't really matter who Trollgate is. Because the people around here, if you learn one good lesson this week, they all troll each other. They troll their friends. They troll themselves for attention. It's all a STD, socially transmitted distraction. And it's done for the benefit of your entertainment. And like that lady's new perspective, it's for a view. That's all it is. Everything is for a view. The real content creators that are out here bringing you into their real lives and bringing you into their real things, you take it for what it's worth, because the people that leech on, the spiders that are around here, setting up webs for other people to get into, they're doing that on the back of other people's work, other people's thoughts. Cruel world we live in, but that's just the way things are. If you're building something, there's somebody willing to destroy it and take it down. We're in that community amongst those type of people. You have to ask yourself why. Today's broadcast was brought to you by the M and the O. Mo, mo, mo.